We're trying to trust in ourselves with what we think we may or may not do with the money when we get it, as opposed to trusting in him.
Robster, back into it again. Thank you so much. And also to the viewer, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. We love you for that. And we're at it again, where we basically just take God's word and put it right into the center of our businesses, right into the center of our lives. And it normally has a flow over into our marriages, into our relationship with our kids, into everything else that we do as well. So I absolutely love this. And I happened to bump into this story in the Bible. Not a lot of people know it because we all think of your Noahs, we all think of your David and Goliaths, we all think of your Moseses, but there's actually a story about this amazing woman called Jael. And Jael managed to take out one of the commanders of the Canaanites while they were at war with them. And it was a very crucial thing that she had to do, basically. And Rob, before I get into this verse, right, I want to ask you within your business, where did you see someone else coming into the picture and helping you out in such a massive way that you didn't think it was possible and they didn't actually even have the resources or the knowledge on how to do that?
You know, upon reflection, there is a significant number of people throughout my career, business life, the past 25 years, who even longer than the past 25 years, who have stepped in and helped in different ways. From a chief marketing officer of a Fortune 50 business who knew nothing about adventure sports 25 years ago, but knew quite a lot about business and just stepped in to help, to offer advice and guidance. From Peter, who works for me now, who is doing a job that is far beyond her years, far beyond her formal qualifications, far beyond even what experience is that she's got, but has just stepped in and rolled up her sleeves and seen that help is needed, so she just gets it done. Often without being asked, usually actually without being asked. And this verse reminds me, and you'll read it in a second, but it reminds me that talk is cheap.
Oh,
It reminds me that you need very little in the way of resources in order to go and achieve something that's magnificent. In fact, actually, if I was to go and look at this verse, and you will unpack it with us, but it's everybody thinks they need an investor in their business. They don't, they need a better plan, right? Because as I read this verse, she didn't have the army, the training, the whatever it may well be. She had a tent peg and a hammer, and she took out like one of the leaders of the opposition army. That's but with those simple resources and tools.
oh,
And so for me, we believe in our thoughts that he provides everything for us. This for me is, what if we actually believe in our actions that he's given us a tent peg and a hammer, and we actually have enough to go and be the David with the Goliath or the Jael with the leader of the opposition army? What if we actually believe that with our actions, not just our thoughts and our prayers? That
oh
for me
man.
is to pick up the thing we've got and go use it, as opposed to looking for bigger and better.
100%, Rob, and I love how you just put that there, man. And that's basically the revelation that I got as well. And we playing with Judges 4 verse 21 today, where Jael took a tent peg and a hammer in her hand and approached him stealthily and stuck or struck the peg into his temple. So his temple is basically his head, till it went down into the ground through or though he was in a deep sleep from exhaustion. And it's quite amazing when you read the story. She planned this so well, man. She actually invited him in, and she invited him in very skillfully as well because she addressed him as my Lord. And that's sometimes how we need to humble ourselves. You know, even though we're sitting in a room and we know that you might most probably be, if I can put it this lightly, more important than the next person or the person that's opposite you in a boardroom, you need to sometimes humble yourself and you need to sometimes address them well. And after she did that, the gentleman then asked for water. And instead of giving him water, she gave him milk. And the reason why she did this, of course, it was also skill set. You know, she knew that with milk, it comes with nutrients and it comes with things that will help him actually fall asleep and fall into a deep sleep. But I took that and I thought, man, sometimes when people ask us for water, why not give them milk? Why not give them the good stuff rather than giving them what they're asking for? So it's always going above and beyond what you're asked for. Like if you ask me for something, I'll make sure that I'm there early. I'll make sure I go above and beyond what you've asked me for to add a little bit of more value. But not only that, afterwards, after he went into a deep sleep, of course, she took that hammer and she took that peg and she basically hit it through his head. And that was the end of him. And where that comes from is each and every time this massive, can I say, crew at the moment, the Israelites, whenever they had to move, the women were in charge of the tents. So the women were in charge of actually making sure that the tents are up and the pegs are hit into the ground. So without her even knowing, she was busy training for this particular moment. And I think there's a lot of things that happen in our lives, and without us even knowing, we'll be like, oh, why am I going through this? Why is this happening? It's in huge prep for something else that should be happening into your business or in your life. And I'm so encouraged by this because there's so many elements that we can take away from this story. But I think one that really sits with me is that in the first place, there's a woman. Men went to war. You said it so nicely just now. Men went to war and they were armored and they had all this experience and stuff. She didn't have experience at all. She just had what she had, you know. And sometimes it's exactly what you say, Rob, is that we should take what we have and make do with it and work with it.
It's the I had a coaching session with a business owner this morning. I don't know how many hours ago now, 6 or 7 hours ago, and he's got a customer he's struggling with, and this customer owes him money. He's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get a lawyer's letter, and I'm going to threaten them that I'll close them down, and then I'm going to threaten them, and I'm going to don't go to them. Reasonably ask for the money that you're owed in a reasonable way. Explain the circumstances and say that you cannot do any more work for them until they pay their debt. And if they refuse, then all of those threats, don't talk about them, just go do them. Go take them out, go take them to court. Don't send a lawyer's letter, send the court paperwork. Don't threaten them that you're going to go to their clients and steal their clients. Go to their clients and actually steal their clients. And if I look around at the largest mistakes, and this is actually it's interesting if you think about Sun Tzu and the Art of War, the book, and compare it to this. In Sun Tzu and the Art of War, it's very much about the art of success is know your enemy, right? Take action in accordance to your enemy. Keep your lips tight and your actions large, violent, and striking. I think in this world, in business, we're so mouthy these days with our words and our language and our this and our that. And actually, if we were to just shut up and stop being afraid and go and do the thing, we've got everything we need. You mentioned before we jumped online and hit record, I think so. I just need to go and start calling these businesses. That's it. Just need to go start calling the businesses.
Yep.
We don't need to announce it to the world. We don't need to put it on social media. We just need to go and call these businesses. That's it. Done.
Sure.
And we've got the resource of, free Wi-Fi and Starbucks and a mobile phone, if that's what you need. We've got that to go and do just that activity with. We don't need any more. And so many businesses out there are actually, and I'm sorry if this cuts, but they're pretending they're struggling. But the only reason they're struggling is not being willing to do the work, not being willing to pick up the tent peg and the hammer. And it's ironic that the businesses that don't struggle are those with an attitude of pick up the tent peg and the hammer. I think this is such a wonderful verse. And also taking the enemy on at the right time.
Sure. So important. The timing is so important. Yeah.
Because if she'd have threatened this guy for weeks beforehand that I'm going to kill you and this is going to happen one day, you better watch your back and blah, 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 blah. All the social media, soap opera, hocus pocus we see around us today. This she would never have been allowed to get close enough to him
Yep.
in order to go and do it. And so I think we need to guard our lips and increase the scale and speed of our actions
Sure.
with some form of clinical precision. And maybe that's, I don't know, calling 1,000 businesses a week saying, hey, my name's George and I do this, right?
100%.
I know you don't want to do it. I know nobody wants to do it. I equally know if you committed to calling 1,000 businesses a week and did it for 8 weeks, you would be a billionaire within 3 years.
100%. 100%. Yep.
So there's a correlation between the mouthiness or that chatter is actually saying, I'm scared of being wealthy.
Why do you think, and Rob, you're touching on such an important point then. It's something that I must be honest with you. I struggle with it sometimes, you know. Do you think it's the responsibility that goes with being wealthy? Do you think that it is a past that is so embedded in you that you have to basically struggle to get over all of these mind patterns of thousands of generations maybe? To get over that and basically say that, hey, man, I actually want to be wealthy and I am going to be wealthy and I'm going to take the responsibility of being wealthy as well.
I think there's two parts of it, and I think there's a past, a present, and a future element to it, right? The past element is all the stories, narratives, and lessons we've been told about the wealthy, whether that's from family, from the church itself, about
Sure.
what wealthy people do and how it's sinful, how it's wrong, or look at them and look at how they behave, or oh, I'd never drive a car that sounds like that, or whatever it may well be. There's that bit. I think there's then, and so there's that bit that we have to overcome. Um, there's then the present element of most of us think we're beyond picking up the hammer and putting the nail in. Most of us
Mm,
think we're beyond that. We're beyond getting calluses on our hands. We're beyond cold calling. We're beyond all of those things. And the truthfulness is you're not. And I don't care where you are in
mm,
a business, big your business is, you're not.
yeah.
Um, and then the third element is we're trying to trust in ourselves with what we think we may or may not do with the money when we get it, as opposed to trusting in him.
Mm,
Understanding that we're not making this money for we're making this money for for the Father. And I think that when you do this with a perspective of this isn't for me, it's for him, I think that that can help move through that third stage. And so, if you think about Charles Dickens and A Christmas Carol, the what was it, the Christmas is past, present, and future, right? That's where that comes from. And I think that those are the three conversations we have to have with ourselves.
amen, Rob. Let's go out there, strategize very well, and yeah, use our 10 picks and our hammers.